Okay, we will call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. And Dr. Taylor, would you lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we will now move to the other room for the MSBA board work session.
Yes, so we've got Mr. John Downs here with us that's going to lead us in our work session. And in order to be a little more collaborative, we'll move just across the hall to the training room. We should be back at approximately 7 p.m.
All right, we will pick back up with the agenda. I think we are at patron comments. Do we have any patrons that would like to speak? I don't think we have any. Okay. Next is reports, the extracurricular program evaluation.
So we welcome Brandon Hart, our activities director, tonight to share some great data and some future planning with us. So thanks for being here, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. I always enjoy coming up and bragging about our kids and our program, and we got a lot to be proud of here at Green Valley High School and middle school and across the district. So Nick, are you gonna like click the button as we go? Perfect. Okay, I need a little clicker. So before we get started, I think it's really important to talk about, why we exist. When we talk about this every year with our coaches, our very first meeting we have with our coaches is we throw this quote up there: coaching doesn't start with X's and O's, it starts with the Y's. Why do you coach? And we talk to our coaches and we really try to get down to why do you do what you do? And at the end of the day, if a coach, if his answer is to win a state championship, if that's my sole reason of coaching, well, that's probably not, we really need to work on that and why you're here in Green Valley High School or middle school. We're an academic-based, education-based program. And so our goal, our purpose, and every coach sits down and they come up with their purpose statement as to why they coach. And we kind of mold after we take everybody's reasons and purpose, and we mold it into, our mission, vision, values, and goals of our program. And so the purpose of our program is to use positive relationships to create an inclusive culture. And we want to instill a sense of excellence, integrity, and other character traits into our kids. That's why we exist. If you really want to simplify it, athletics is really, measured in two areas. I mean, it's measured in more than that, but if you really want to make it simple, performance and your climate. Those are the two areas that we really look at, and we can expand off of that. But when you're looking at the professional levels, it's all about performance. If you don't win, you're going to have to find another job. But in the education-based program, it's not just about winning. It's about growing kids to live life past graduation and to grow these kids into being responsible students. Participation in Green Valley High School, I'll tell you, if you're in Green Valley, you value participation and you're probably involved in something. You can see these are the data numbers. These are numbers of MSBA athletic and activity participation over the last 8 years. So you'll notice that down here in 2021, that was the COVID year. Okay, since then we've grown 26% in our athletic and activity programs in MSBA. Over the last 2 years, we've grown 9%. And why are we seeing this? Well, we've been adding programs at the high school. We've really made an effort to get these kids involved. And so we're talking when we added boys volleyball, we added flag football. That's been huge. Flag football has. We've added other programs too, but those were two really big MSBA programs that's indicated on that graph there. We've also added the esports the last few years, the trap shooting, this year, and I'll talk more about it later, but we really put also an emphasis in our middle school programming as well. I'll be honest, and I'm going to brag about this later, but we started middle school swim this year, and I'll be honest with you, I was shocked at the number of kids that participated in our middle school swim program. Talking with other schools, we expected, we were going to consider 12 middle school kids coming out a success. We had near 50 kids out for middle school swim, and we were caught a little bit off guard, to be honest with you. We had to get more help and more supervision, so we had to get creative with that and use high school kids to help us get through that. But we've seen great participation numbers here at the high school and the middle school. Go ahead, Nick. And so we have about 67% what we would call active campus involvement. That previous number, the reason those numbers were so high was because some kids are participating in more than one activity. So they may be counted twice. But if you really cut it down, about 2/3 of our kids are involved in our campus. So to be honest with you, we are reaching high levels of program saturation because if you think about it, you can only get 5 kids on the basketball floor or 11 kids on the football field. So sometimes you got to get creative but so our focus now is always going to be to get that number to 100%. That's wishful thinking, but we all know research is very clear. Kids that are involved do better in school, and I can show all kinds of data to validate that. But we want to get 100% there. We're happy with 2/3. I'd say that our program, and I like to brag, we're larger, even though the school down the street has a lot more enrollment. We offer more programs. We have a lot of support for our programming, and they're trying to catch up with us, and they're next year going to add some of the programs that we've got a head start on them with. So, we're real proud of where we've come over the last few years. I don't want to throw a bunch of numbers here at you. I'm not going to go down and brag too much, but these are some of the numbers that we're proud of. 13 of our programs won the Suburban White Conference Championship, so that resulted in our 6th consecutive All-Sports Trophy in the Suburban Conference. We have 21 sports in the Suburban Conference. We won 13 of them. 5 teams finished in 2nd place, and 3 teams finished in 3rd. We had no team finish lower than 3rd place, so we're pretty proud of that. Our overall winning percentage, and I hate to throw out winning because I say winning's not everything, but it is an indicator, that we're doing the right things when our kids are performing well. And, we win about 7 out of every 10 ball games. We have 10 individual programs. When I mean individual programs, I'm talking like wrestling, track, swimming, individual sports. We have 10 of them. 9 of those 10 had a state qualifier this year, and 5 of those programs came home with a state medal. So we won 3 district titles, and we had 4 runner-ups. And now when I'm talking in that one was a lot of fun because, and I'll talk more about this later, the district titles are hard to get because we're stuck in a district with Blue Springs South, and the Columbia schools, and those are schools with 2,400 plus kids. And so when we can win those district titles, we like to pound our chest a little bit. But, 7 of them were 1st or 2nd place in a district tournament this year. And so we are competing with the best of the best in the state at a very high level. Cheerleading, we all know cheerleading is, we have a huge tradition in cheerleading. They won their 17th state championship this year, but 1st since 2022. 6th place for our boys in state golf. The reason I'm so proud to brag about that one is because we actually were the highest placing public school in the state. So, of the big classes. So there were 5 private schools and then Grand Valley. And golf's one of those sports that it's a private school sport. But we're proud of that. We had 1 Final Four appearance in softball. I tell you, the excitement around that softball program, it was a lot of fun for the school to see those kids going down in the parade. They had a lot of support from their classmates. I think they really embraced our softball girls this year, and they've had a long run of success, and they finally got to the Final Four this year and knocked off Blue Springs South, which I always enjoyed that because they've knocked us off the last few years. Last year we had 33 kids. This last year signed a letter of intent to play college sports. Our numbers are higher than the national average. The year before that we had 34. So in the last 2 years we've had about 70 kids that they're going to play athletics at the collegiate level. So we're really, really proud of that. We have a lot of kids that have aspirations to play at that next level. And it's not just about winning and losing, it's also about academics, and we regularly see our kids performing very high in the classroom. Large number of kids having a 3.0 GPA. We're really, one of our focuses is attendance and academics. So we're going to really dig down on the attendance next year. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but we're doing a lot of good things there. And I can brag about a lot more numbers there, but go ahead. But I also want to be very clear. I said it's not all ball. We also have a lot of things we're proud of in the fine arts department as well. Our band and choir, our percussion, they participated in the Music for All Nationals this year, and they were the first ensemble, only percussion ensemble from the state of Missouri to ever perform at that. It's a real prestigious event that they perform at in Indianapolis. All three of our bands and choirs earned the highest possible rating at their contests. Band was third place at BOA Iowa, which my understanding was the highest in that program. Winter Guard won their division, the MCCGA Championship, and once again we were named the best community for music education by NAM. So they got a long, strong history that is continuing to. Coach Andy Messerly is doing a fantastic job and really building a strong, inclusive culture in that program. Theater. We had our most ever Blue Star Award nominations in program history this past year, and Starlight came out and presented to those kids, and that was a lot of fun seeing those kids get excitement. I mean, that was like a state championship for them, and to see them, get that excited over the Blue Star Awards, that was a lot of fun to be a part of. Debate, we had a Misha individual state champion this year. We had 2 national qualifiers. Their numbers were down a little bit. We had a first-year teacher this year running our debate program, so numbers are down, but we hope to build that back up as she continues to build her program. And our CTSO, our technical student organizations, continue to qualify kids. All of them qualify kids for national competitions over the summer. Some challenges that we face. We're pretty lucky here in Green Valley. I see other schools that have a lot of different challenges. We have our own set of challenges, but we've really tackled a lot of the challenges over the last few years with our facilities. The facilities over the last few years has grown to the point where we feel like we can be very competitive, but we're not there yet. One area of concern is our wrestling facility. Our wrestling facility was the old transportation building, and it was built at a time really before girls had a wrestling program. And if I can be honest, I wouldn't consider it Title IX compliant at the time right now. So we don't have girls' locker facilities in there. We just have the boys' locker facilities. We have space for 2 mats. We are trying to address some of that by getting creative. We hired a new girls' wrestling coach this year to help us, get a little bit more creative with scheduling. We might look at moving mats into the cafeteria or other areas to try to because our girls program continues to grow on our boys program as well. I do think though in a few years that's going to be it's going to reach a point of critical need, because I see a bubble right now in our youth wrestling program. We went years without a real strong youth program, and that's starting to grow. We have a large number of kids in elementary that will eventually get up to the high school. So as long as they maintain those numbers and staff wrestling, here in a few years, that's going to be an area that we really want to look at. The smallest school in a large class district, which I alluded to earlier, but we welcome that challenge. Our students still compete at an elite level. We just have to have a smaller margin of error because our enrollment disparity with the larger schools in the big class. But something I am proud of, if you look at all of our team sports, we still finished our district tournament record of 15-9, which is still something to be proud of. We, out of all the schools, it's pretty much the Blue Spring schools, us, and the Columbia schools. And the only school that had a better record than us was Blue Spring South. So, considering these are all schools with 2,000 plus kids, we're really proud of that. And the last challenge I have to discuss is staffing. That's not this in the first time. It's a challenge. Coaching is a tough job. Next year, we have approximately 30 new coaches, and right now I still have 11 positions that are unfilled. You add those up, it's about 20% of our coaching staff is going to be new next year. This is a little bit of an anomaly. We do a great job retaining our coaches. But that is an area that we always need help with from our principals and Dr. Smith does a great job of helping us try to hire coaches. But it's hard to find that puzzle because you got to hire a math teacher and an English teacher. And you're not going to find very many English teachers that coach football. There's just not a lot of them out there. So occasionally you hit the lottery, but those are the challenges sometimes of filling. So what we're resorting to do is hire a lot of non-teachers as coaches, and you see more and more of that. The state has allowed, given us a lot more leeway to hire folks that are not coaches. So there's a trend there. So anyway, that's something that we're always going to have to address. Some of our future goals and our outlook, the middle school stadium complex is going to be have a significant impact on our program, not just at the middle school level, but also at the high school. The dominoes start falling in, and you guys know, middle school football is coming over to practice here at the high school. So we're really relieving a lot of pressure at the high school by giving them their own home. The band, they always get mad when they get kicked off for a middle school football game. That's not going to have to happen anymore. I said, one more year. And the soccer and the band, that turf field especially is in track. If you go out there in the springtime and you have middle school track and high school track and flag football and girls soccer and you have 400 kids out there, it's organized chaos. But this will really help not only the middle school, but it'll also help the high school just eliminate some of that pressure we have on our facilities. And it will allow us to increase programming and opportunities at the middle school level. With the addition of this program, we are going to plan to open up 7th grade track and 7th grade football, which, we had discussion about doing that prior to this year, but we really didn't have the space to open up 7th grade track. And we were concerned with safety and the number of people that were going to be out there. So we just think that it's really going to, those middle school programs feed right into the high school. And I just think it's going to be a significant impact overall for the whole district. The other thing I'm really looking forward to is we're going to kind of restructure a little bit within the activities department. The support of this program that we get and the addition of an admin intern next year is going to be significant. There's more and more demands placed in the activities department as we've grown over the last few years, and this will really help us restructure and better meet the needs of our parents, our coaches, and our students, and some of the things that's going to allow us to do that, I've always wanted to do, but, you only have so much time in the day to do it. So now sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, and I try to add too much. I got to be careful with that, but some things that we're going to try to do moving forward is creating a captain's council with all of our, get representatives from each program. Meet during Eagle time and continue to talk about mission, vision, values, and goals of an overall program and talk about leadership and different things there. Continue to expand our inside-out coaching through professional development. Another big area is to enhance our branding and community engagement. Two big areas that I'm excited about. Number one, we're starting a sports information class next year to help with not just, they're going to help do the branding for the video boards, just social media, all that fun stuff to really expand our brand of Grain Valley and use the kids because they're really good at that stuff. And we're going to look at increasing our streaming through Huddle. Last year, we streamed 247 ball games through Huddle. We did not, that was without a camera in our small gym, so we're going to add a camera in the small gym at the high school, so now we can stream all of our lower level games. So, grandparents of freshmen now can watch the ball games from the auxiliary gym. So we're really excited that position is going to allow us just to be more responsive to our parents, coaches, and students. So let's talk more a little bit about the middle school and some of the areas that we look to move forward with our middle school. So the last couple years, we did add 7th grade to our volleyball and our basketball programs. We added a C team, and we added middle school swim, which I talked about earlier, with almost 50 kids. Next year, we're going to look at adding 6th grade to cross country. We're going to split our middle school theater programs to where, I don't know exactly, I know Mr. Leifert was working on that, but North Middle School will do one production, South Middle School will do a production, so it'll double basically our participation in our theater program. And obviously, we will continue to get that stadium built to open up things for next year, which I alluded to earlier with our 7th grade football and track programs and adding that, which will be huge. I don't know what the numbers will be, but we expect there could be 100 kids go out for 7th grade track. We expect there could be 40 to 50 7th grade football players that come out when we open up those programs. So my only concern there is the challenge that I alluded to earlier is staffing. We got to be able to find the staffing for as we continue to build our program and grow our programs. Next year, we're also, or 27-28, we're looking to split the girls volleyball program into a middle school, a north and a south program. Right now, we have our north and south middle schools co-op, okay? Volleyball is the one program where we cut too many kids. I think last year we cut nearly 60 kids that wanted to play volleyball last year. And that was even adding that third team. And so we have the numbers to support it in volleyball. We're going to look at doing that in 27-28 and having a North Middle School and a South Middle School program. Now, as far as basketball and volleyball, we are not convinced today that we have enough numbers to warrant that right now, but we will evaluate that on a yearly basis. We have numbers with the boys basketball, but the girls, I don't know if we're quite there yet. So we will continue to evaluate that every year. Obviously, if we have the numbers to support it, we will continue to do that because we want kids involved, obviously. There are no current plans to split up what we call our non-cut sports. Football, track, wrestling, cross country. We don't have kids. We don't cut kids from those programs. So the cost benefit ratio there, you're not going to get the benefit of splitting those up because you also have to deal with facilities. We don't have a football practice facility at South Middle School. So the cost to do and the staffing, they're not gonna get any more opportunities than they get even as a co-op program. Unless it gets to the point in football maybe where kids are not getting much playing time, but in wrestling they all get wrestling matches, track they all get a race, and cross country they all get a race. So the benefit isn't really justify what the resources it would take to do that. Good. I say this, with pride. I think we have premier facilities, a culture of tireless commitment, and a community that passionately supports our program. So I really believe that we hold every fundamental resource required to stand as a model program of excellence in our state. So it's a great day. I mean, we're proud of what we've built. You're always striving to win that state title. I know that's not our ultimate goal, but that's always in the back of your mind as a competitor. But our kids are doing great things. They are performing well on the field, in the classroom, and in the community, doing community service hours. And I think they're great representatives for our school and our program. So with that, I open it up to you guys.
Any questions?
You said you had 30 new staff coaches starting this coming school year?
Mm-hmm. So now, now there are some people, like I had a coach that is getting out of education, and she coached 3 sports. So if I lose a coach that coaches 3 sports, that's 3 of those 30.
So you have 30 positions?
30 positions.
30 positions.
30 positions, correct.
30 positions new this year, and then 11 of those 30 are not filled, or
Correct.
11 additional?
No, 11 addition.
Okay.
11 additional
okay.
ones are not
I just
filled.
want to make sure I understood that correctly.
Yeah, 11 additional positions. So we still got a little bit of time to fill them. We're beating down the doors, but and we've got some plans. If we don't get them all filled, we might have to get creative. But this wouldn't be the first time we didn't fill them all. But yeah, we'll have 30 new positions, and if you put them both together, we've got 41. We'll have 41 new people.
Thank you.
Other questions?
First of all, thank you for all that you guys do for our students. Activities is an incredible part of our school district. It's big in how people outside of our community view us as well. And so it's great that these kids are such great representatives of our community. And I think this is a lot about our program, our coaches, our teachers. So thank you for what you do. It looks like you guys are doing a great job of evaluating things year to year. The areas where we are having to make cuts, I think you're evaluating. Didn't we recently add a team with baseball?
We
correct?
did, and last year we added another baseball team.
Right.
Because we would have 60 to 70 kids get cut from baseball.
Right.
I wish that wasn't the case, but you got 9 kids on the field at a time, and you will have 100 kids come out for baseball. And so, or more than that, but I think last year we were able to, when we added that team, that did
What
help.
team was it again?
We added a C-team baseball team,
Okay.
an additional baseball team.
So it's not a grade level like a freshman team strictly. It's just a C. So
We call them all all C teams. Nobody has freshman levels anymore.
okay.
And the reason for that is because schools are very diverse, and some schools need to fill those programs up with sophomores and juniors so they have enough numbers. We don't have that problem,
Yeah.
but we just, to be universal across the conference, we call you have varsity, JV, and C team. And, one of the C teams is made up primarily of freshmen.
Sure. It's probably going to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good that we're, constantly evaluating that to be able to make sure that we're given as much opportunity as possible. Or as far as a lot of the other schools, even the bigger districts, are we competitive? Do we feel like we have as many teams?
We have
or are
more
we
teams,
still-
absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
I just
I
wanna-
get
if
excited
we're
when I
getting
talk
there.
about competing with those big schools. We have more programs than schools just to our
Yeah, you
west.
said programs.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean, when you say programs, I'm thinking of sports, but.
Yeah, that's
but-
what I'm talking about. Now, in terms
okay.
of.
But what about
so
teams
let's
within
use-
those
let's use-
sports?
Let's just use Blue Springs and Blue Springs Shots as an example. Neither one of those have 2 C-team baseball teams. We do. We have just as many teams within our programs as they do. So I don't know what their numbers are of participation, but I'd say ours is equal to theirs, if not greater. They might have, in track, the non-cut sports, they might have larger numbers there.
Well, it seems
but-
like our percentage would be greater if we're smaller and we've got more teams,
Yeah.
So that's a great thing, and I think that only helps us as a district if we're doing that and having more kids involved. So I think that's a great a way to evaluate how we're doing, and so I appreciate how that looks. What's the biggest challenge in the next couple of years? I mean, we got some great things that's going to open, like you said, open up opportunities. But what's going to be some of the biggest challenges with that? you
Well,
think?
I think some challenges that we deal with, I'm just kind of going off on a limb. We still like that small school culture, and we strive for that. But it's harder to do as we get bigger and kids are sports. There's more kids are starting to specialize in sports, being single sport athletes, which we really try to focus on that not happening. The facilities, everybody's, trying to, the runoff facilities, you can never have enough turf fields. If I have the band practicing next to a tennis match, that's a lot of fun. So we would really like to get another place for that to, that's always been a challenge and always will be. But, I think just trying to keep that small town mentality. I mean, we still want to have that small town culture here in Green Valley, and that's one of the advantages I think we have being a single school district in our identity. And so just and the other issues that we have a lot of times is we have really good kids that could play for any other school in the area, and they just don't get the playing time that they want at Green Valley because we're so competitive, and that's hard to see that sometimes, but that's part of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for what you guys are doing and pass that on down to our coaches as well. It's exciting to see what we have in our future.
Yeah, we got a great group. We got a great group of coaches, and I'm proud of what they've been able to build, and their kids first, and that's important for us.
Part of what the challenges that you had mentioned were the wrestling facilities. I know that's been something that's been brought up the last, I think, 2 times that you've been in with us, just talking about how the wrestling program's growing, and now that you're bringing up, potential Title IX compliance issues, I think, that's probably something that we're going to need to look into pretty quick, just to make sure that all the students have the same options and same availability and ability to participate. So appreciate bringing that up.
Any other questions? I have just a couple real quick. What is a co-curricular activity?
Co-curricular is a class that also has an extracurricular component, like band, choir. There's a class
Gotcha.
tied to it.
Okay. Let's see, could you go back a few slides, Dr. Gooch? Nope, that one. So in your presentation, you said like cross-country adds 6th grade
This year
participation.
we probably
And you
had-
said we're thinking about that, but it's 26, 27. So is that something we're doing, or is it?
Yes, that is
So
something that we plan to do.
So we
that
are
this
doing
fall.
that?
Mhm.
Okay, excellent.
That's an easy one. We don't have to get a ton of equipment. I don't have to buy new helmets and things. So
As
the
long as we can get
cost.
a coach, right?
Yeah, I mean, and we're bringing back Coach Byers. Kelsey Byers is coming back to the high school or to the middle school, and she's got some experience at the cross country. So yeah, it's a perfect fit, and we're excited to add that.
So one thing that is not in the presentation that I do have a question about, but it's just in general, kind of more of a takeaway maybe,
Mhm.
is the sign-up system. We moved to a new system a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I still get references from the community that that's been challenging.
The arbiter registration to register
I
with
think
your
so.
getting your
So,
physicals.
Not intending to
online.
blindside you or get into the weeds, but that's one area that is not part of the presentation that I don't know if you would consider that a challenge, or if that's just, and again, this could be just the people in my immediate circle that complain to me. not-
We do
broader.
have some challenges with that. With some people struggle with it more than others. That's an area that we'll have to address, obviously, if that is a concern, and that's an area we need to maybe evaluate going to a different program.
Okay, is that a contract that we signed, like a long-term contract, or is it?
It's not a
year to
long-term
year?
contract. The reason we use it is it's also tied to our athletic scheduling program. It's
Gotcha.
a yearly program, so it's all one program. And to be honest with you, we went to that because the one we used before was sold and it no longer exists. So we had to go to a new program last year, which was Arbiter, and we went with that. And they did that for the schedules conference-wide. All 28 schools in the conference went to Arbiter. And so we made the decision to go to the Arbiter registration, so it's all tied together. And if that's going to pose problems for the community, then obviously we need to reevaluate if we want to continue that.
Well, I would not take my word for it, but I would.
Or maybe it's a communication flaw that we can address. So there's a number of reasons. We'll have to look into that and figure out how to move forward.
Any other questions? Really appreciate everything you're doing. Great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all. That will take us to the superintendent's report. And have we all had an opportunity to read it? Any questions? Not today? Anybody? Any comments you'd like to make, or?
Just one, I did swap out our normal attendance metric because that doesn't make sense in July. with something relative to a report that we're looking at, which is that is the number of certified staff resignations or retirements over time. So just swap that out this month, but I'll move back to attendance then once school's back in session.
Sorry, I did take note of the 8F grading framework situation, and I did see another YouTube video on that, but then I just was noticing some of your takeaways, which were the moving goalposts. I don't know if you want to elaborate briefly on what that means.
Yes, I mean, there's several takeaway concerns that I have. Right now, it is proposed, the A through F grade card, it will go to the state board in August where they can make adjustments, and it won't be official until September. But there's about 3 major implications for us overall. One is going to shift our state testing window by about a month. That leaves the month of May for teaching, but no assessing. And so you can teach towards the next school year, but if you have to have all testing done by April 30th, it makes May feel a little less productive, I was going to say. So that's a major concern of ours with the proposal. Another would be our core data submission is a huge part of what we do behind the scenes that's normally due June 30th, and that moving that to as early as June 1st because they have so many other calculations. They have to hire an outside firm in order to do the calculations. They have to have us turn that in a month early. That impacts us in a lot of ways behind the scenes. And then, like you said, sort of that shifting target, if you will. They want to keep a traditional bell curve, so no more than 65% of schools can ever have an A or B, or they'll just move the metric. And any of you who went through schooling with a traditional bell curve, as I did, or through college with a traditional bell curve, or probably aren't fans, as I'm not. And so it just feels like, there aren't expectations, and then we meet them and we get graded on them. They just continue to move said expectations, trying to maintain just a certain number of schools that are an A or a B. So I'll keep watch on this and keep you all updated. This is the proposal that came out, and those are some of the biggest takeaways that I was concerned about.
You were reaching for the button, Sarah. Any?
It's not, it was just in general in the report, because I do appreciate you bringing that to light. In the report in regards to communications, we've recently sent out, here's all our back to school stuff, which I think is making, and I, like in the community, someone's like, how do you know that already? And I was like, well, because I clicked on the link that said back to school information, and I could figure out when middle school back to school was. So as we look at that, I do appreciate that, in addition to the website additions with the student handbook and calendars. So like our middle schoolers, it's their first time getting into all these sports and activities. Having that information on the website so parents can navigate it for the first time is very helpful. So the sooner all those activity calendars get updated is always very, very beneficial. And then that information on Arbiter and how to do those things and is helpful too. So a lot of that stuff is already on the website, and that's just super clear communication, which I appreciate, and then can direct all of our community to that resource.
Appreciate that. With the new website rollout, we are looking for feedback. So anything you do happen to notice that's missing or you can't find where it typically, we are open to all of that feedback as Cameron continues to make changes. But it's been, I think aesthetically, it's a beautiful new site. There's a lot of functions that we're enjoying that we find more efficient than before. But certainly if there's other great improvements, just let us know.
Okay, next up we have the financial summary. Any questions or concerns? I know we're all concerned about the budget, but as far as the...
So this wraps up last fiscal year. And so the only one thing I wanted to point out on this is these percentages look a little favorable. And I just want to point out these are based on our amended budgets. So when we calculated for all of the shortfalls in revenue or any additional expenditures, these percentages are a reflection of our latest amendments as of this spring, so that might be why it looks as favorable as it does. I also wanted to report out, as June 30th is our most accurate time of year to report out our reserve balance. And so we ended on June 30th at 22.73%, knowing that we want to maintain that 20% or higher.
Questions? No?
Just one, do we know when the new director of finance starts employment here? I
Yes.
just kind of heard middle of July, so.
He did. He just started this week.
No.
And so he had one day on Wednesday here by himself where we just did some kind of basic onboarding and then spent all day today with Mr. Hooper.
Okay.
So they spend Thursdays and Fridays together for the remainder of the month. And we are working on some new ideas, the things that we're going to do for you all monthly, just knowing that we have to stay on top of the budget this year. So it's going to be more frequent updates, something maybe of a deficit tracker of sorts. So we'll roll that out next month. He plans to attend next month's board meeting, just so that you can put a face with a name and ask any questions as we develop a new report for the new fiscal year to keep you all as informed as possible month by month.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. The exit interview summary.
Yes, we welcome Crystal Frederick, our Director of Human Resources tonight. She's going to sort of just give a quick overview of a few highlights of our exit summary, and then, of course, we'll take any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. Can you? Okay. So this year we had 24 exiting employees complete the exit interview. We had 16 of them were certified and 8 of them were non-certified. One positive trend that we've seen the last couple years is that individuals who are leaving, pay and benefits are not, they don't play a significant part in their reason for leaving. So a lot of the work that you all have done to the salary schedules, we're seeing that in the exit interviews. So we had nearly 70% of certified staff state that that was not a reason for their leaving, and then 75% of non-certified staff stated that was not a reason for their departure. Workplace satisfaction was another thing that for non-certified, we had a really strong 75% of non-certified said their workplace, they gave it a high satisfaction rating of a 4 or a 5. On the opposite side, certified was a little bit lower, so 56% of certified staff reported a lower satisfaction with 1 or 2 ratings in workplace satisfaction. Our turnover timelines, so we are seeing a lot of our turnover happens in the first 3 years. If we can get past that 3rd year, it looks like our people stay to at least 10 plus years. So with those who completed the survey, are certified, 37.5% of the survey respondents left within the first 3 years, and then 50% of the survey respondents for non-certified left in the first 3 years. So our goal would be to kind of move people past that 3rd year so that way we could keep them for 10 or plus years. Overall, we had a really strong employer recommendation on the survey. Out of everything, there were 75% of our certified staff stated that they would recommend Green Valley as a place to work, and then the non-certified, all of the members who completed it. So we have a 100% rating from our non-certified staff that would recommend Green Valley as a place to work.
I have how many, sorry, so we only had, it feels like we had a lot more people leave than filled out this survey. So what was the percentage of like certified versus non-certified that filled out the exit interview?
So for certified, we had 16 out of 31, so about half for certified. Non-certified was much less. We only had 8 people out of 47
And
complete.
do you know of any reasons or indications as to why that would exist? Or is that like common among exit interviews in general in HR? Like,
so it is, the certified, it's common to have about half. Non-certified is a little bit more of a struggle to get. Our numbers are usually typically lower with non-certified staff to get them to complete. So we've tried a couple things. We're going to keep trying other things to try and get a bigger response rate. So we send it to their Green Valley email. We also send a reminder, and then we have started sending it to their personal email. So if they want to complete it, sometimes people want to complete it after they leave, so they have the opportunity to complete it from their personal email after they leave. So we've done a few things to try and get those numbers up, but we're going to continue to try different ideas to increase our participation in those.
And then Crystal does offer to host this in person for staff as well, if they prefer to meet face-to-face, and she hosts some of those as well, by request.
Yes.
And then, so on building responses, it looks like not even every building was represented, at least on the certified, that we had, unless they were so small that, so there's 10 or buildings, but only 8 are represented. Does that mean certain, like, are we seeing certain trends that this specific building didn't fill it out at all? Like, so like on the building responses, it looks like Prairie Branch was light blue, but Prairie Branch doesn't have any responses on that pie chart.
Yeah, and some of our buildings have maybe 1 or 2 people that leave, and if they choose not to do the exit interview, that's why they wouldn't be represented.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, it just looked like, because we only have 16 responses and the amount that's represented, I would think even if it was just 1 or 2 people that it would, but yeah, so I didn't know if there's certain buildings that respond better or what that looks like. It just, we always want to know why, right?
Right.
Like what's going on, what can we do, what can we change so that we can control those factors? And if we don't get the information, we can't do anything to change it. So that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing is like, what are we missing?
Yes. Yeah, and we'll continue to look to see what we can do to, I mean, I'd love to have 100% for, so we can get that feedback. So we'll continue to try and get more people to complete it, so we have a good representation of.
Got it. Thank you.
So with that same chart right there, I mean, why are you leaving the district? I mean, 25% of the people that filled it out were dissatisfied. I mean, that's a pretty big percentage of I mean, do we have any more data on that, or as far as reasoning or anything like that?
So, on the next page, there is a couple, where they can rate, could be work environment. So we do look at certain areas, and then we always have the, open-ended comments. So sometimes people will leave information in the open-ended comments as well.
Do you recall on the open-ended comment section if there was anything specific? You don't have to tell me the answer, just if you had anything that we're going to be able to work on.
We do, and so one of our plans is that I take this data and I summarize it by building and by department. So we work directly with principals and directors on their areas, and we look at that information to see what we can do to improve if it was one that had a low rating for support or training or those types of things. So.
The only thing I would add to that is at the director level and or the building level, there's a lot of cross-referencing. So these are the metric from people leaving. We also have in the spring that every single certified staff member evaluates their administration. So let's say there's a trend in here, there's a concern with an administrative team. Well, then we go back to those knee surveys that all of the teachers, and see, is that a trend that also appears in there? And then in the fall, we have the climate and culture survey. So now is this a pattern? And so, sometimes you try not to be an alarmist with one metric. So we do a lot of cross-comparing then in the summer here and decide on, what do we need to bring forward to particular departments or buildings? And how can we help support them and coach them through things that we're seeing over time as an issue?
As you work through that, is that something that you'd be able to bring back to the board, and just if there is a pattern of this building or where
it might be
it's-
hard without speaking on individuals to
Yeah.
do so. I mean, we could do it in a very general sense.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks.
It becomes a personnel conversation if you drill down too much, which is something we can certainly discuss as a board, just not in this forum. Yeah, gotcha. Any other questions? Dr. Taylor, any? Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Annual staff training.
Yes, so this is just, last year we had a lot of staff concerns about our online training modules, and it was mainly the length, the number of modules and the length of the modules. And so we went back to the drawing board and tried to come up with a plan of what things that we think could be more effectively taught in person versus online, but still meet all of the compliance at both state, board level, as well as with liability. So we've retained everything that is sort of required to be online and proven through a particular company, you need to do this particular training, and shifted anything we thought would be more efficient and effective to in-person. And this is not all of the PD, this is really just the compliance PD. The only thing not listed on here is we did move dyslexia to in-person. We have a 2-hour dyslexia training certified staff go through that we have someone coming in to facilitate. And there's all sorts of other back-to-school professional development. But because this got so lengthy last year with all of the new requirements that continue to come out, we wanted to show you kind of our proposed solution and let you have an opportunity to ask any questions.
Any questions?
Dr. Allen, you and I have already had a small conversation. How did this start the conversation of our CSIP and how it meets those needs, and where do you see it going from here to ensure that all of those needs are being met from our community and our staff?
Absolutely. So I will say that this list, some of these items are going to be those long-going, ongoing items that are part of our CSIP that then get broken down into BSIPs at the individual level. Some of them are one and done. You know, AED training, we have AED training and we're done. Other things where, you know, you talk about student belonging, for example, that's part of our CSIP, and there might be a little touch on that within these trainings, but not a whole lot. That's going to be built into each individual's building's BSIP, and they're going to come up with a plan for their particular building. And each of those BSIP plans that align to our CSIP come in front of you in the fall then. And so our buildings have all come up with a draft at this point before they left for summer. They reflect over them over summer and come back and continue making tweaks, and then we bring them in front of you to help see the way in which each building is going to work towards that collective effort of meeting our CSIP and giving each building kind of what they need. So you'll see a lot more when it comes to professional development and a lot more detail, especially as we move through fall with our district professional development plan and our BSIPs. This is more of the mandatory side of things. A lot of these are one and done, but not all. And those things that are ongoing, you're going to see in other formats here in the fall.
Any additional questions? Okay. We'll move to unfinished business. I would entertain a motion to approve the board meeting calendar for the 2026-2027 school year as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I did make 2 changes. I was going to just highlight those 2 quick changes.
Sure.
In April, at our April workshop where we do our retirement reception, I've just listed our location as TBD. We are looking to work with our administrative teams on sort of rotating those buildings. I'd like them to be back on contract so I can visit with them about where we should host next and kind of come up with a schedule. So I will report back out that location here this fall, but that would be for April's meeting. And then I did move May's date. So May's board meeting date that coordinates with Sni Valley graduation, I'm requesting a 1-week move from the last time this was presented. And the reason for that is the delay in our school calendar. This, if we kept it at the same time period we normally do, we would lose a week's worth of attendance because the school year extends so long. So we'd like to keep it in line with when students are normally finished with Sni Valley. So as long as there aren't objections to that particular move, that would be very helpful for us in maintaining our scope and sequence with our students.
So we have a motion and a second. Any additional conversation or questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Bring us to new business, approve the extra duty positions and stipends. I'd entertain a motion to approve the extra duty position and stipend for Tessa Bosserman as presented. This will be a roll call vote.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Did I ask for a motion in a second?
You did.
Okay.
Now you have it.
Any discussion? Thank you. I didn't hear anything. I got confused.
So just following our board policy with our full list here of extra duty positions and stipends, anyone who is related to a school board member within the 4th degree is pulled separately, so we'll allow you to abstain, Mr. Williams, and do our vote of Tessa, and then we'll do the remaining contracts.
We'll start with Jason. Julie? Sure.
I think last year there was a dollar amount attached to the duty stipends, and I didn't know.
So we have a new e-finance system. So essentially, it is an enormous amount of work on our athletics department to try to, and it's not always going to be accurate, to move a step and move the years of experience and calculate that, whereas our new program does it for us. So essentially, what happens is once you approve these contracts, they'll get entered in our e-finance system, and it'll do all of the math for us and calculate out their contract. So Crystal actually asked if she should take the hours to make sure she does this correctly. And so my proposal for the board, if you're okay with it, if we approve them, if you want to see these amounts, it would be way easier to pull the report after we approve everyone, and then we can present those amounts to you versus hand entering and hand calculating. We feel like there's less room for error that way, if that makes sense. But if you're hesitant without seeing that amount, we can do something differently. We're trying to eliminate the errors with hand calculations and entering in spreadsheets.
Okay.
If I could
So-
add a comment or a question.
Sure.
From a dollar standpoint, will this vary very much from what it was last year?
It's based off the approved salary schedule.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Okay.
all a percentage of the base, and none of that has changed.
Okay.
There's been
Thank
no major updates to our schedules whatsoever.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sarah?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay. Motion to approve the remaining list of district extra duty positions and stipend as presented.
Second.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
We didn't have to do that one that way, but that's great.
You thought that's what you were doing.
Yeah, I know.
It's all good.
Okay. MSBA Annual Conference.
Yeah, this year's conference is in Kansas City again, so please just let April know if you plan on attending, and we'll get you registered and make some plans together. So if you'll just RSVP to April, that would be great.
When do we need a RSVP by April? Not by April, by April. Okay. Thank you.
I don't know of a necessarily, like, there's a deadline per se, so. There's usually a discount for early. Mhm. We can send you an email with that deadline, if you want to save money with early bird, and we'll get that out. We can get that email out to you.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion to adjourn and go into executive session under section 610.022, subsection 610.021, 1, 3, and 13.
Second.
Motion and a second. Jason? Yes. Julie? Lance?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.